So today we're going to be working on a Panasonic Q Gamecube imported from Japan. It's very sorry for itself, and even more sorry because FedEx decided to shot put it and smash it to pieces. Brilliant job, FedEx. So the original listing stated that it wouldn't eject. Now normally they have faulty DVD drives. On this one though, I instantly thought it's going to have a problem with the rubber band that ejects it, and as you can see, it's very warped. So the best way to fix it is to cut it and replace it. Really simple. Now any of you with eagle eyes would have spotted the magnet on the spindle. That is also broken and is erupted, which could spray particles all over the drive. Also, the rails on the left and right, thanks to FedEx, are also smashed to pieces. They're just crumbling away in your hand. With the pieces just falling apart everywhere, you need to remove the rails. Just a couple of screws each side, if there's any screws intact, because they're normally smashed inside the drive. These two holes here you don't fill with screws, but these two you take out, and the four here, that comes off and allows you to undo the rails with a couple of screws, as I said, each side. This rail has seen better days. As you can see, the legs are smashed off and the rail itself is cracked at the end. Really shocking behaviour from FedEx. The middle piece here is where the magnet goes. We've now removed it with some tweezers and cleaned the area with isopropyl alcohol, ready for the new magnet. On the 3D printed parts, make sure you put this piece of metal back in to stop the drive from falling out. To replace the band, you just take the clips off the two cogs, lift them off, put the band in place, and then reverse the process. And you're done. Super simple. And here's a picture to show it all fitting together nicely with the 3D prints and the new part. Now the system wasn't turning on, so I opened it up to look inside, of course. And the fuse had taken such a hit that it had come out of the socket, making it not power on, because there's no fuse in place. I also added this fan. It's a noise blocker fan and makes it run really silent. It's gorgeous. Now this is the first time that I'm turning it on, and it boots up straight away. The drive itself, we're going to test to see if it ejects, goes out and goes back in. Now I have no lubricant on this at the moment, so it's just the lube that's left on the drive tray. But as you can see, it works fine. Superb. With the DVD drive tested and seeming to be functional, we're going to turn our eyes over the cosmetics of the system to try to improve the look of it. The panels themselves are very deeply scratched. One side is more scratched than the other, but it's still something that I'd like to look after and make it look nice and new, because it's something I want to keep for a very long time. Also, the casing has a lot of chips. The plastic chips are going to need to be filled as well. These are the two handles on top of the console. They're not the greatest condition, and the closer you look, the more damage you see. I started sanding the side panels to try and get it as flat as possible and get rid of the scratches that are on the system. They're going to need to be filled because they are quite a deep groove, and if you run your fingernail over it you can actually feel how deep they are. So I'm going to have to use some putty to fill this in. I got this stuff from Halfords and it's actually not so bad. It's called Isopon. It goes on pretty easy and sands off well. As you can see, it's filled there. You just need to sand over the top and then prime and paint. I wasn't happy with the lens on the LCD screen, so I covered it in masking tape to paint around the edges, and in the corners I used PVA glue to stop the paint overflowing. Then it can just be picked off and then it gives you nice clean edges. The part just above the LCD screen was also chipped really badly, so masked it and painted it up, and it looks gorgeous. These are the handles and they've come out really well, and the paint match is pretty good. The paint I used was Star Silver 3 for a voxel, and it's pretty good as a match. This is the base coats, and then of course, here's the main paint coat. And then it just needs some lacquer. Now with all the top pieces painted, I decided to take it in the sunlight to see the difference, and the match is really good. The screen lens itself is still dirty and has quite a few scratches, but that's something we're going to sort out shortly. It's a good paint job, I think, and on the top there is a few scratches still on the main body, but nothing really deep that needs to be changed. You can see it there in the light, but again, nothing major, so I'm going to leave that. Now the lens is removed again and placed on a microfiber cloth. With the light hitting it, you can see every single scratch, and there's some really deep ones. But we're going to use something called Polywatch for plastic. Never used it, going to give it a go. And this stuff is amazing. Look at the difference. It's turned out almost like new. Such a huge improvement with just a few minutes work. I even removed the screws on the front and give them a polish. On the right is the polished one. Now looking at the front of the case, it does have those cracks. Thanks to FedEx again. but to fix them is going to require a whole new front. I did reach out to Rose Coloured Gaming and ask them if they could make me a new front, but at the moment it's not something they're offering. I did find this stuff called Captain Tollies though, and using capillary action, it's meant to soak in and fill any crevices to make sure that they don't leak. I thought, why not try it on here to actually fill the crack? Using something like a plastic cement would be messy and cause a lot more damage to the outside, but this is kind of like a watered down milk. You put it on the top, wipe off any excess, and every 30 minutes it starts soaking in. As you can see, it's improved already. It's not going to hide the crack, but it's going to fill it and make sure that it isn't going to spread in the future. It does look a lot better and will hold firmly until someone does decide to make a replacement front for these systems. This is how it looks. You can see the milky texture inside, but that will dry clear, and it did. These systems have a 2032 battery inside. They're not rechargeable though, so you do need to replace them. I ordered a battery online from eBay. The guy sent it, but one of the legs snapped off, so I had to bodge it to get it to fit. Now my friend sent me a spare magnet. It was slightly too big, so I used a Dremel and a sander to get it to shape, and now it fits perfectly. A bit of Gorilla Glue, contact adhesive, pressed it in place, and I think it's a pretty good job. So, a little wonky at the moment, it's not all back in place properly. This is just to test the DVD drive. So first of all, turn it on. Hello. Gamecube. It's probably going to ask me to set up the time. And for the moment, we're in. So the disc is in. It says Gamecube. I can hear it spinning, which is a good sign. There's the game. Okay. Moment of truth. It's very quiet. No idea. Make save data. Yes, I'm assuming. This quality's gonna be awful, sorry, but just gotta test it. Okay. None of the settings are tuned in for this game at all, so this is just to test it. It's very quiet. I think you can even hear that spinning if I press the button to skip. Hear that loading? Very quiet. Very quiet. We're in business. I'm so happy. All I need is the drive lube. Once it's lubed, it's ready to go. There's no joke there. Now the Game Boy player for this system is around £600. I'm not paying that, so I decided to 3D print my own. And it looks pretty cool. The prints take absolutely ages, nearly 20 hours per piece to do in the best quality. And it does look pretty good. And it is only temporary till we get the resin printer anyway. But then disaster struck. The two pieces are done, they don't line up properly, and I don't know why. Same print, lined up before, printers calibrated, even cutting out pieces inside, no good. Waste of time and, yeah, 40 hours of my life down the drain. I did, however, find this cool 3D print stand for the controller. It looks pretty good. But then disaster hit. We have red pixels throughout the image whenever you run in progressive scan. That's going to cause a massive problem, and it also has sync drops. I reflowed the entire digital out port, but no success. It's going to need a new ribbon. It's trying so hard to get working. It's just like, yeah, you can play it like that, no problems. Take two. You should hold B to fire up in progressive. I'm going to sit back a bit. And it should come up. It's saying progressive. That's what that means. Yes. And I'm looking for the red. I know it was really bad in the clouds. There was red in the clouds. There was all sorts of mess. When you're up close, I don't want to curse it, but it seems okay. Before, all of this had like a travelling red pixel that was going along the white. And now when entering 480p, the image is now clean and free from any artifacts, and it looks fantastic. I'm so happy that the ribbon cable worked. The system is now fully repaired. Of course, I'm not going to be able to fix the cracks that are on the front, but they are the best they can be. Maybe one day I'll find a spare part or someone will make a spare piece of acrylic for it, I don't know, but for now, there's a few bits of video just showing it completed. It was really fun to build, a pain to work on, and so many little things that can go wrong all the time. But overall, I'm happy with the outcome. What do you think? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.